Further ado, he's our favorite Florida fireman. He's a good friend of the program, and it is my pleasure to welcome him, the one, the only, Mark Taylor. How are you, my friend? It's so good to have you back on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Sheila. It's always a pleasure to be back.
Well, where I want to start is, first of all, congratulations. Not all of us get to have a movie made after us. Of course, it's been under wraps for a long time, so we couldn't say anything, but we're very excited to announce Mark's book is being turned into a movie. Mark, talk a little bit about that, my friend.
Well, thank you. They did a movie on the book, The Trump Prophecies. Producer Rick Eldridge did. They are officially coming out with it on October 2nd and 4th. And tickets go on sale, matter of fact, June 1st, today, as we're doing this show. So They can go to Fathom Events. Or they can go to the TrumpProphecyMovie.com, which will take them to the Fathom Events screen, and they can type in their zip code and order their tickets ahead of time, and it'll show them exactly what theaters in their area are showing it. So it'll be on October 2nd and the 4th.
And how do you feel about seeing yourself on the big screen, Mr. Taylor?
It's very humbling, to say the least. Let's just say that. I mean, I have not really seen anything. They've gotten an unofficial trailer out right now that I've seen, and a couple little behind-the-scenes videos that I've seen, and it's pretty humbling, to say the least. You know, to hear your name being, and you're the character in this whole thing, because the movie's about my story as a firefighter starting off, and then, the effects that it has on firefighters, the job that we do, whether it's the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD, whatever the case may be. And so it's bringing awareness to that, and then it moves into the whole prayer movement that we had, and then into the Donald Trump election part, as far as how I got the prophecy and stuff like that. So it's exciting on one hand, and it's a little nerve-wracking on the other, to be honest.
Somebody asked me one time years ago, hey, if you ever had a movie done about you, what actress would you like to play you? And I thought, actress? I want Clint Eastwood to play me. But how do you feel about the actor that's portraying you?
I don't know really much about him right now yet. I've never met anybody in the film yet. I haven't been privy to go up there and see what all was going on. I just, I looked at the B script, and they asked for the technical advice on the fire side of things, so I supplied that for them. But as far as any of that goes, I don't know. I haven't met them, honestly. I've just seen the videos, and that's it.
Well, I've read the book, and I can't wait to see the movie. We're all really excited for you. And I'm sure it must feel really surreal.
Yeah, it is. It's surreal. It's kind of, honestly, I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you, because, this is all new territory for me. Yeah. And, I don't like the attention anyway, but yeah, this is going to bring the attention for sure. It already has, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's weird how anything with Trump in it, really, all of a sudden there's major attack and scrutiny. Already the attacks are starting to come out. Now, what are you recently featured in, what was it, Christian Post?
Right, correct. Yeah, and they did a little article about the movie, and they were giving some background, and I had warned the producer and some of these guys that there were going to be protests over this movie, and they had already started protesting before they ever started at Liberty University. So that was the start, and, things kind of calmed down, and they realized, hey, this is just a project we're doing, type thing. But, I think if we're not careful, we just need to be praying. I'm asking people to pray for the movie, keep it in their prayers, because I think there will be some trouble if we're not careful in some of these theaters, people protesting and this, that, and the other, because it does, anything with Trump in it, they go nuts.
Yeah, and that goes for other Trumps, too. You see this thing with Samantha Bee, Ivanka Trump, this whole storm with Roseanne over Valerie Jarrett, this weirdness with Sally Field. It was like, you're still alive? Sally Field, by the way, if you guys did not see that horrific, abhorrent tweet, we're just so tired of these ungodly, pretentious, rich, liberal fops. There's just such a double standard. The pedophiles and the perverts of Hollywood, they can vociferously anathematize anyone who dares tell the truth in unholywood. It's ironic. Jarrett and Obama, the treasonous devils that they are, they belong in jail. And frankly, they should be called much worse. But no, these cherry-picking, hypocritical vipers, the Jimmy Kimmels of the world. Yeah, I'm waiting for ABC Network to announce that they're going to be canceling, Jimmy Kimmel, The View. Oh, wait, those aren't conservatives. They're liberals. Never mind, Mark.
And that's the whole thing, is that there's a double standard right now going on out there, and the army of God just has to hang in there. We got to stay in prayer. We got to stay in warfare, stay in the fight. But there will come a shift, so to speak. The shift's already taking place, but there will come a literal shift. You will see a lot of this stuff begin to go down, period. There won't be a double standard as bad as it is right now, so to speak. Roseanne Barr got canned because she was out of George Soros. That's why she got canned. look, the enemy's protection mechanism has literally been taken away. They have no protection at this point because they have made that many arrests. They have had that many indictments. We're up to, I think, 30,000 sealed indictments is the last number I saw. They have arrested 7 ex-presidents globally. They have arrested thousands of pedophiles, but you have a media blackout. So people don't realize how much is actually going on out there behind the scenes. So this corruption is being exposed. These people are being brought to justice. A lot of the people that are being brought to justice right now is the low-level, mid-level people. The big fish, like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and these guys, it's going to take some time because, again, you've got a plan in place right now that where they have to clean out the FBI, the DOJ, all the corruption, because they can't even get a fair investigation right now or prosecution from the DOJ right now because we still have Obama holdover. So they're in the process of cleaning this out. And now I think they've done that to this point where they're able to get some of this these fair investigations going. But now they're going after the judges and the prosecutors, which is what you see in New York going on right now. So now that's why you see Harvey Weinstein, all of a sudden, he gets arrested.
Yeah, well, speaking of media blackouts, barely any touched the fact that he turned himself in. I think I saw 3 that covered it. Total media blackout. And speaking of media blackouts, look what's going on in the UK with Tommy Robinson. The UK banned media and citizens from even discussing the secret arrest of Tommy Robinson. They've just gone full 1984 over there in the UK.
Yeah, and, I think there's something coming for Britain as well. I haven't got the full revelation on it. I feel like there's going to be like Wales, Scotland, Ireland. They're all going to separate themselves from England, so to speak, because it's called the United Kingdom. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a divided kingdom of sorts for a little bit. But I think God's going to actually do a work over there because you have this whole royal wedding thing. I mean, it's like, come on, man. They had to line the roads with these people watching the royal wedding. And, people don't understand what these people are into, what they've been into for centuries. And you're going to see an exposure after exposure going on in England. Even, I believe, the monarchy itself may even come down, so I think you're going to see a cleaning house, if you will. There's a rising of the spirit of patriotism going on globally right now. And you're seeing this take place. I mean, look at Italy right now.
Yeah.
Italy, I think Italy has turned the corner, and they're going after the globalists. They've got a prime minister in there that's going after it. And lo and behold, Sheila, what is in Italy?
The Vatican.
Well, yeah. And that's something that we have a prime minister over there now that, and God's prophesied that some things were going to happen with the Vatican. So, you're seeing this take place. The other day that I just saw a blurb of it, because again, you got a media blackout on a lot of this stuff, where they were chanting in the streets of London, "Make Britain Great Again."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were chanting Trump. So, you've got this global movement of patriotism taking place, and it may take time to get this in place. Now, I think also Canada's another one, because I know you're in Canada. I think Canada is going through the same thing we went through for 8 years of Barack Obama, and what it's going to take with this guy that you have in office over there right now. It's going to take the people rising up and saying enough is enough, and they have to get their bellies full, basically, and say enough is enough and build a righteous anger to put a stop to it. That's what's going on globally right now.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Ireland there. The Irish Times reported exit polls were showing 68% voted yes on the referendum to repeal the ban, and only 32% voted no. That's a sad prediction for Ireland in the wake of these new shedding of innocent blood laws, as I call them. It's fascinating to me that a massive amount of Catholics and Protestants that litter Ireland, that this would happen. That brings a death curse right there. The shedding of innocent blood. Well, I don't care what your government has to say about it. God's got something to say about it. And God trumps your government. And it was really incredible in a 2011 study published in the British Journal of Psychiatry. Abortion was actually tied, guess what? Well, big surprise, to the decline in women's mental health. This is Britain's own secular psychiatry journal. We could have told you that. Guess what? It brings a death curse. So, Ireland's in a lot of trouble right now. We need to be really lifting that country up in prayer. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, and again, I go back to the enemy's kicking and screaming. Their protection mechanism has been taken away. This thing in Ireland with the babies, I think that was either northern or southern Ireland or something like that happened? Because Absolutely. I think the abortion in one part of the country is not the same as it is in the other, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's Northern Ireland.
Okay. So you have that part of the country, so they have to ask themselves, what have they been into that they need to repent for in order to turn that around, to take the legal right away, is why they're not making headway in that legal system, so to speak. And here's the other thing you got to remember too, Sheila. If they voted over there, because the voter fraud is global, and who's got his hands in all the voter fraud stuff? Soros. So I would be looking into who has their hands in over the voter process over there, because did they manipulate the vote? That's the other thing we can't forget, because, the Lord's showing us this here in America, where we don't have as many blue states and blue zones as we think we do, because the voter fraud is so bad, because George Soros has been manipulating these elections for so long. This is why we have people in office for 30 and 40 years, is because they've been bought and paid for, literally. This is why John McCain, I don't believe John McCain won that second term. He was bought and paid for it. Yeah. So the vote was manipulated. This is why California, I was so close to prophesying California was going to go red for the first time under Trump, and I didn't do it, and that's probably my fault, but I honestly believe, I'm not so sure it didn't go red, because the voter fraud is so bad out there right now, it's not funny. And now what are you seeing taking place in California? You're seeing the people have had enough. They're tired of this Jerry Brown, Maxine Waters, Dianne Feinstein, all these demonic leaders out there, and they've had enough. But they've got to get a hold of the voter fraud. They got to deal with these issues. We got to go back to paper ballots or something where they cannot, manipulate the machine, so to speak.
This video belongs to lordsprophecy.com. Please visit our website for more update. lordsprophecy.com. Spelling LORDS, prophecy.com. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, the voter fraud is certainly just a bigger part of this demonic intrusion that we're under. But I really believe God is fixing, as you would say, Mark. He's getting ready to pull the curtain back. God has really pulled back the curtain on a lot of stuff, but I don't think we've seen nothing yet. As the song says, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, and again, their protection mechanism is being taken away. They're being exposed. And, I go back to, I call it the full moon effect. And if you ask any law enforcement, firefighter, or ER doctor about the full moon, Friday night, end of the month, when the welfare checks come out, look out, it's going to be a horrendous night. You know what I mean? You're going to be up all night running, whatever the case may be. It's the full moon effect, but nobody's been able to give me an answer that makes sense. Why does a full moon do this to people? So I went before the Lord. I said, Lord, what is it that does this? And he said, Mark, the primary area of operation that the enemy operates in is in darkness. And he says, when you introduce the light from the moon, per se, it agitates the demonic and brings out the worst in people. So that's what you see going on right now, Sheila. We have been living in darkness for so long globally right now, and especially, or even in America, but globally, is that we are now, that protection mechanism is coming off. Light is being introduced into the dark places to expose it. And that's why it's agitating. That's why it's kicking. That's why it's screaming. That's why you're seeing the backlash, the school shootings, false flags ramping up. You're seeing the weather manipulation. We're seeing it here in Florida again. We just had another weather system come through here. This never starts this early, hardly, like it's been doing. So, you're seeing all this stuff ramp up right now because that protection mechanism's come off.
Well, and concurrent to that mechanism, as you call it, it's interesting. Do you feel like there's just a whole new level of evil that's been released and just really a whole new level of demonic attack?
Yes, absolutely. I have sensed that myself. Everybody I talk to has kind of been going through it, especially people that I'm in contact with. It's just something that we're just going to have to endure and fight our way out of this thing. And because the victory's ours, that's the bottom line. We're going to win this thing. We are winning. We're going to continue to win. So I don't want people to lose hope, because when you lose hope, you lose the will to fight. What we want is people getting in the fight right now.
I feel like sometimes I am repeating myself like a parrot, but Christians, listen to me. Do you get that you are seated in heavenly places with Christ Jesus and that you can take authority over the principalities and powers and wicked spirits and rulers in high places? I don't think they do get it. They don't understand their authority, their dominion, and their power. We really have to be reporting for duty and doing the spiritual warfare part, which is something that very few people know how to pray, but they don't know how to do spiritual warfare. And as Carl and I say in the book, prayer is when you're addressing God. Warfare is when you're addressing the enemy. There's two different parts. And a lot of people aren't doing the last part. You know, like Mark said, we're going to ride the wave. I guess we're going to ride the red wave. I feel like there's a tsunami coming of just one miracle after the other, revival, incredible things happening in this midterm. What's your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, it's going to be more than one tsunami, actually. There's going to be a red tsunami, I think, in the midterms. I think you're going to see a turnover that's never been seen in American history. I mean, just by the looks of the retirements and the resignations, we've got over, the last number I saw was 50. Could be more than that now. But that's not including those if they start making arrests beforehand. So, you know, this is a very important midterm election. I want to encourage people to get involved, to get out and vote. It is important to vote, folks. And the other thing is that if you are called to be a leader, a congressman, senator, a judge, whatever the case may be, at the local, state, federal levels, you need to take your place right now, because literally there's going to be a void. There's going to be a void when they pull these people out, and we need to be ready to step in there. And I've been saying this for over, probably almost 2 years now, that God's going to put his righteous people in these high places to rule and reign. It's time for the Luciferians to get out, period. They're being kicked out right now.